Hey everyone, Raymond here from Just-ok-wargamers. First attempt at doing a battle report and recording it all. Today we're going to be playing a game of Chain of Command, part of a campaign that we're doing. This is game turn 7, I believe, and it's the Gembloux Gap campaign. I'll be playing as the French, and my mate Ross will be playing as the Germans. This is game turn 7, and I think if we get to game turn 10, then and we get beyond that, then it'll be a French victory of some description. As it is, this is board 4, and this is going to be the second or third time, I believe, that we're playing on this board. So it's a tough one to crack for the Germans. They're not allowed to have any armor. The support points, though, increase each game. So I believe Ross is up to having 14 support points. And the French decreases as the games go on. So I'm down to only 4 support points. This is the board, or our interpretation of the board. So you have a couple of houses providing some heavy cover. There is a wall here. It's just a garden ornament wall though, so apparently just light cover. Have a couple of wooded forested areas. They're the normal forest rules, 4-inch visibility in. And then we have a wheat field over there, which will give some soft cover unless you've moved through it. And I just put some snake fencing up because I made that recently, and I know it's not really for the period or the place in France, but I thought it looked good, so I just thought I'd throw it on there. So let's have a quick look at the two forces that we're playing on this board today. Okay, so here is the much depleted French platoon. So this platoon has been fighting since the beginning of the game. After this board's been captured by the Germans, which will probably be this scenario, the French will get a fresh platoon. So they're down 15 men. So I've taken one whole squad away, plus the VB launcher section. So that means that for the French, they've got their commander. He was actually killed in the last game, but then replaced, and he's only got 2 command initiative. They've got their inferior senior leader as well, so he's also only got 2 command initiative. Then you have 2 normal French squads. Each one has one section with 5 riflemen and the LMG, a corporal, and then another team just with 4 riflemen. So you've got your 2 sections there. For support points, the French only had 4 support points. So they got the 60mm mortar, which the first one is 2 support points. And really, really useful because it can fire smoke. So if the German bring like a 75mm howitzer, you can use that smoke to block their line of sight, which can be really, really useful. It also comes with a corporal as well, so you can activate it on a 1 or a 3. The other 2 support points were spent on a little motorcycle team. It's got a corporal in it, 2 riflemen, and an LMG. So for a pretty small team, they can put out a bit of fire. So if I can put that in like the house with the heavy cover, it should be relatively tough to move. In this scenario, the French also have a howitzer of their own to use because it's meant to be the gun line, which the Germans are kind of attacking their way through. So we get a free howitzer. However, this one's been depleted. It's lost a couple of crew member, and also the corporal got killed in the last game, so there's no corporal with it. So it's only going to be activating on a roll of a 1, but I'll probably try to put one of my senior leaders close by to keep activating that. Hopefully I can smoke out the German main fire points, so if they bring an MG42 or a howitzer, but I'll be able to keep this somewhere close to a section to help spread those hits and keep the fire on with the howitzer is the idea. So quick look at the German platoon. So this is the remnant of the second German platoon. They get 3 platoons for the campaign, I believe. This one's pretty battered up. It's 10 men down for this game. So it's mainly taken. There was a light mortar which got taken out, plus one of the rifle teams from the 3rd section. But each section has 6 riflemen, NCO, and then a LMG with 3 crew. So it's got 2 sections plus a 3rd section, which is just the LMG and the corporal, but with 14 support points. I don't know exactly what Ross will be taking, but I presume he's probably going to be bringing an extra squad because he can't bring any armor in. Probably the howitzer, and then maybe a Stuka or some sort of bombardment. Have to see. Obviously has 2 senior leaders here as well. In the last game, nearly all of both the NCOs from both sides got wounded or hurt to some description. So I forgot to mention the French platoon. I think both the senior leaders are down to 2 command initiative. In the German one, the sergeant is down to 2 command initiative from being wounded, and there is 2 replacement corporals in these sections. And so they'll also just have 1 command initiative instead of 2. So that should make things a little bit more tricky for the Germans in this game. We'll see how it goes. Next, we'll just have a look at how the patrol phase panned out. Right. Ross is here. There he is. And finished the patrol phase. So, French player, I got 1 drop-off point here in the corner forest. 1 just here in front of the house, and then another one just here near the low gun wall. Germans going up here inside the big forest, 1 inside the wheat field, and then another one across the other flank in the wheat field. And then from here, I'll just every couple of phases, we'll just have a quick review of what's been happening. All right, so first part of the game, Ross took a Stuka bombardment. It's the first time we've used that in the game. And didn't really slow my troops coming on, but the mortar only had 1 point of shock, which was rallied off. Then the motorcycle team came on. They got 6 points of shock, and then the leader also suffered some sort of hit and is traumatized, so he's down to 1 command initiative. So he's stuck behind this building, just going to be rallying off shock probably for the rest of the game. And Ross has moved all these guys up into the wheat field, all on Overwatch, section of Germans and another light machine gun. And then there's another section making its way through the forest here with a medic as well. So at the moment, it looks like the French are not in a great position. Okay, so another couple of phases in, and the Germans have started making their way up here on their right flank with one of the senior leaders, a medic, and a squad. This jump-off point here is essentially useless now because Ross over there has a forward observer that's put a ranging shot here. So as soon as I bring anything down here, he can call for effect and it will just pin those squads. So that's kind of pinned this flank down really well. Over here, I've had a lot of my teams came through. They didn't suffer too much from the Stuka bombardment. They came over here in the heavy cover and they put some fire down on the squads over there. Not much effect, just 1 kill, and then the return fire, I lost 2 from the rifle team, and the corporal was wounded, so -1 command initiative there. So the team in here already has 6 points of shock on it already, and with only 1 command initiative to use, it's going to be hard for them to rally. So looking pretty grim. I only have 1 more team to bring down and the howitzer, so not too much hope for the French. And the mortar over here then tried to shoot a smoke round to block line of sight of the machine guns over there. Fell short, so probably still blocking line of sight of 1 of the German LMGs. But it's the Germans' phase next, so we'll see what their return fire does and see how they go capturing these jump-off points. So Ross just had a double phase, and this section up here on his right flank jumped over the wall and captured that jump-off point. So he can end the turn at any point he wants, and that'll be a bad thing happen to roll my force morale. And it also means he's coming around here on my flank. This section here got fired upon. I lost another 2 dead from the rifle team, so they've only got 1 more person left on the rifle team. And they're 1 point of shock away from being pinned, so it's looking pretty bad for that section. Motorcycle section still has 3 points of shock on it. So it's probably going to be a long time till all this gets rallied off. So it looks like the Germans are encircling the French position. I'm nowhere near a chain command dice either for me to try to end the turn to at least stop the Stuka bombardment. But we'll see what happens in the next couple of phases. Hopefully I can get the howitzer on and put some hurt on the Germans. Things are looking pretty grim for the French. So some more firepower coming over from this flank. Wiped out the team that was in the top here, which was okay because it meant that I lost all the shock off that squad. But there is just the bottom team down there. Then the red dice is a mortar battery that's coming in, and it'll probably fire for effect in the next turn, which will then pin everything here and start adding more firepower onto it. Then on top of that, Ross's squad here fired off some shots at my team here, which did have my senior leader, and he got 1 kill, which was then ended up being the senior leader that was hit, and I rolled a 1, so he was killed, and then I rolled a 5. So now my force morale is down to 5. So looking pretty grim, but after this game I get a fresh platoon, so I may as well just keep on trying to fight, and maybe I can take out a couple more off the German platoon, which will weaken them for the next game. It's the only thing I can really gain through this. Okay, so German phase. Ross is really smart. He just moved this LMG, which had moved out here on the left flank, back closer to here. He then had a chain command dice, so he used that to end the turn. What that did was it meant that over here, this section, which had captured this jump-off point, it meant that the French lost the jump-off point. So it was another bad thing happen roll. The French went down 1 more in their force morale. That took them from a 5 to a 4. And so that means that in the French phase, instead of rolling 5 dice for their command dice roll, they'll be only using 4 dice. On top of that, also meant that all the smoke that had been coming down here from the 60mm mortar has all been cleared up. So now all this has clear fire to bring down upon the French inside the building, and the ranging shot will be recoiled again, I guess, in the Germans' next phase, and then be able to bring down the mortar bombardment down there. It does mean that the Stuka bombardment will finish, so the French can start bringing on the other troops. They've got a house or another section, but with only 4 command dice and no adjutant, it means that there's a chance that those troops won't come on at all. So we'll see what happens in the next couple of phases. So next phase, the Germans brought down their bombardment on this area here, so mainly affecting the motorcycle team, who are already pinned, and there's a team in the under part of this building as well, also already pinned. And then they've started moving this section up along here, maybe going to move around all the way through here to assault my mortar and commander on this side. In the French phase, though, we managed to get a team for the Stuka bombardment. Just managed to get a team on because I didn't have an adjutant. And this squad put down some fire on the Germans that were moving forward through the wheat field. Got really lucky, and we managed to wipe out the lone LMG team of the Germans, and that took 1 off their force morale. So things are starting to look up a bit for the French, and maybe we'll bring this back for a heroic victory. But we'll see what happens in the next couple of phases. See if the Germans can crush the last bit of my force morale down. So things still not going well for the French, as you can probably guess. This section here just poured a bunch of fire onto the motorcycle team that was there, and they got enough shock they routed off the edge. And that brought the French force morale down to 2. So you only have 3 command dice to use. I get a fresh platoon after this, so I may as well just keep on going for another phase to see if I can put some hurt on the German troops over there. They're throwing a smoke grenade, so I only need 6 to hit. But I might be able to get the howitzer on board, which might be able to do some damage. But probably the last couple of phases for the French before they will inevitably have to surrender. Alright, so that's pretty much the end of that. The Germans brought a fresh barrage down in the forest here, pinning my one remaining full section and the mortar team. And since it's in the woods, it counts as being in close range. So essentially, I'm so far off for getting another chain command dice to end the turn that he would just be able to keep repeating that and slowly grind all of that down. And it's pretty much going to be firing at half effect, so return fire would be really ineffective. Then over here, this super squad just shot at the howitzer they managed to bring down. And the howitzer only has 3 crew on it. And the squad over here fired once, and they got 7 points of shock onto the howitzer. So that broke straight away, and that brought my force morale down to 1. And then decided to call it there because I only have 2 command dice to use, and it was unlikely I was going to be able to do anything effective. So good job on Ross. There he is, looking all smug and stuff.
If only I'd done that 3 games ago.
Yeah. So game turn 8 next, and on to map 5 out of 6. So the French will have fresh platoon, so that'll be good. But I think Ross has seen the value of the Stuka bombardments and using forward observers. So both really, really strong units, which we're still just getting the hang of now. All right. So that was my first ever battle report to be filmed. Hopefully it was somewhat enjoyable. I know the filming quality was pretty low, but hopefully I'll improve that over time. Let me know what you think, and let me know if you want the full battle reports to be filmed. I didn't want to do us rolling with all the dice rolls and everything while me trying to deal with the camera. So I thought it might have been just better just to go through a few phases and then have the video of me summarising what had happened. But it was a good game. We really liked Chain of Command. All the rule sets from Two Fat Lardies. Really, really interesting and really different to your normal sort of like Warhammer Fantasy, 40k, bold action style games. We really love the asymmetry, I think it is, of the scenarios where you have the attacker and the defender. And this one really highlighted like the attacker can get a lot with Stuka bombardments, forward observers, but they really need that because the defender otherwise has too easy a time just being able to get in the heavy cover and stay in that one position. Things I would have changed in how I did my plan. Not too much. I probably should have been a bit more patient and actually waited till I've got that chain of command dice first, then enter the bombardment and then put my units down, even if it meant losing a jump-off point early in the game. The Stuka bombardment just put so much shock on those first few units that went down. Took off command initiative of one of my corporals, and that meant I had to get one of my senior leaders down there to activating both of the units. Yeah, so it led to a whole lot of issues, that Stuka bombardment, and then the forward observer as well. But next game should be more interesting. I'll have a fresh platoon. Ross's German platoon's depleted by about 50%. But I think he'll still use it, and he'll just try to whittle me down. I've got to hold out on the next 2 maps for 3 turns if I want to have a chance of getting a draw or like a slight victory for the French. So we'll see how that goes. I'm hoping that Ross might go for that same combo again because it was effective, the Stuka and the forward observer. And then hopefully that, like in this last game, I didn't get any 5s, so I didn't get a chain of command dice, but maybe in the next game, I'll be the first one to get that chain of command dice.
and that'll really nullify. You can just get rid of the Duke of Bombardment straight away. And if he does have the barrage, you can end the barrage really quickly. And I think I can think of some other ways to mitigate the barrage. Maybe putting my troops behind at the back and then rallying the shock off first and then moving them up. If I can get that done early enough. But anyway, it's a dice game, so we'll see what happens. But yes, let us know if there's anything you liked about it or anything you didn't like about the report. And I'll keep doing them and try to get better at the filming and whatnot as I go. But hopefully we'll get the next game done in a week or so. So you'll be able to see game turn 8 of the campaign on map 5. So we'll see you then.